When Donald Trump won the presidential election in 2016, the initial shock among liberals and progressives soon gave way to two interpretations. For some, the real estate tycoon owed his victory to a misdirected rejection of the neoliberal world order. Billionaire though he was, Donald Trump had managed to galvanize the losers of globalization by promising to bring back industrial jobs, to deport undocumented migrants, and to humble arrogant cultural elites. Conversely, the second interpretation emphasized the continuities between the new administration and its predecessors. For all the populist posturing, this argument went, regressive taxes and financial deregulation were more than ever at the top of the agenda. The much trumpeted radical change, then, amounted to little more than a facelift for a capitalist system still reeling from the crisis of 2008. While unconvinced by the end of neoliberalism thesis, the Canadian historian Quinn Slobodian did not believe that the novelty of Trumpism should be underestimated. Hence, the relentless attention he has since paid to the mutations of neoliberalism, eventually leading to Trump's second coming. For Slobodian, the term neoliberal is not the name of an economic doctrine professing that money, goods, and labor should move freely. Instead, he sees it as the changing expression of an ongoing concern, that of protecting the accumulation and profitability of capital from the threats posed by popular sovereignty and democratic control. In the wake of the Great Depression, Slobodian explains, early neoliberal thinkers were mostly alarmed by totalitarianism, whether Nazi or communist. Then in the post-war era, their worries shifted toward the creeping socialism associated with Keynesian economic policies in the West and decolonization in the global South. Their purpose, however, was not to turn back the clock to pre-1914 laissez-faire. Instead, the intellectuals depicted in Slobodian's book Globalists sought to redeploy both state intervention and international legislation to shield market mechanisms from social demands for equality. Until the end of the Cold War, neoliberal intellectuals remained fairly confident about the possibility of disciplining democratic regimes. Paradoxically, however, the fall of the Soviet Empire found them disenchanted. To guard against melancholy, therefore, they now seized on new ambitions. Convinced that democracy, even duly curtailed, is incompatible with the exercise of freedom as they conceive it, some of them, generally described as libertarians, have been looking for more radical solutions. A first cohort, whose adventures Slobodian recounts in his book Crack Up Capitalism, stake the advent of unbridled capitalism on the proliferation of so-called free zones. These enclaves are either sovereign city-states or inserted into existing nation-states. What they have in common is that they operate without any form of democratic oversight. The second cohort are the protagonists of Slobodian's most recent book, Hayek's Bastards. Their vision of a society impervious to egalitarian demands is predicated on the rehabilitation of long discredited perspectives on money, intelligence, and race. Until recently, the views championed by these goldbugs, IQ enthusiasts, and so-called race realists were confined to the shadiest margins of the academic world. Today, however, they occupy the hearts and minds of the people at the helm of the world's greatest power. This is why we found it so important to interview Quinn Slobodian now, to help us shed light on the intellectual genealogy of Trumpism. The interview took place in Paris on February 1st, 2025.